Hi friends, how are you? It's been a little minute, but I wanted to come on and chat with you real quick about a situation that happened with me recently with Air Canada Aeroplan. The reason that I wanted to talk about this is because Aeroplan gets a lot of really positive vibes in the points and miles world, but I personally have only really had negative experiences with them. So I just want to give you a heads up about what my experience has been so you can make a decision about if you want to use them. Something that I've talked about before is airline alliances, and when airlines are in the same alliance, you can typically book the same flight on multiple airlines websites, but it's going to be flying on the exact same flight, and that gives you the option to use different points currencies based on which airline you're booking with. Air Canada happens to be in the same alliance as United Airlines, and being on the East Coast, I tend to have a decent number of options flying on United. So I can transfer points to Air Canada and I can book my United flight there instead of having to transfer my points to United. The reason that you'd want to do that is because Air Canada has a lot more transfer partners, so the different banks, versus United, which only has one transfer partner, which is Chase. So if I have something other than Chase points, I can still book that United flight. I just have to go through an alliance partner like Air Canada. My first run-in with Air Canada was in 2024 when I transferred some of my miles to Air Canada in order to book a flight between Rome and Brussels on Brussels Airlines. Now, Brussels Airlines is an alliance partner of Air Canada, so I was able to book them. Those flights never ended up happening because of a planned protest at the Brussels airport. For some reason, Brussels Airlines decided to cancel all of their flights that day. They were the only airline that canceled their flights. After those flights were canceled, we got the points refunded back into my Air Canada account, and we ended up booking with another airline, flying the same day, almost the exact same time. We weren't able to do that through Brussels Airlines though, so those points just went back to Air Canada, and they were sitting there for a really long time, and I didn't know what to do with them because, as you know, once you have points in an airline program, you can't send them back to your bank. Because I had booked 4 flights at that time that got canceled, I had quite a number of points sitting in Air Canada, and I was trying to figure out how to use them. So every time that I had to fly solo, I would check to see if maybe I could use some of them to get that balance down, because they were just sitting there basically wasting away in Air Canada. Come January 2026, I planned a trip with some of my points and miles friends to the LA area to go to Disney, and I figured this is a perfect time to use these points. I'm going to be flying solo, and there was a United flight that was going from Philly to Washington DC to LAX, and so I ended up booking that flight. Everything seems to be fine. I get the email confirmation. I have a confirmation with United, so everything goes according to plan up until the day that I have to check in for the flight. So I go to check in for the flight, and I'm trying to check in on Air Canada, and as often happens when you're doing what's called a code share with one of these alliance partners, they gave me an error alert and said you have to check in with United because that's the airline you're actually flying with. So no big deal. I go over to the United website and I try to check in there, except I can't. There's some kind of error message getting thrown at me that I have never seen before in all of the travels that I'm doing, and it basically says that I have to contact United. So I contact United and they're like, okay, we know exactly what happened. Now, mind you, this is after 45 minutes on hold. They said that when Air Canada sent my information over, because I booked it with Air Canada, they sent all of the information, including my frequent flyer number and my email address, but they didn't send my name. So because my name was not sent over, it was not attached to the ticket, and therefore United could not issue me this ticket because there was no name on it. So I was like, okay, that seems crazy. How did that even happen? And they said that it was likely just some kind of clerical error and that I could just reach out to Air Canada, no big deal. They put my name on the ticket, they send it over, and I'll be good to go. Now, keep in mind, all of this is happening in January, and it's happening later in the evening because I had a really busy day that day, and my flight was the next day at 10 a.m. and I didn't have time to check into it the 24 hours before, and I didn't need to because I had a seat, so I thought. So I didn't start this process until like 6 p.m. It's now going on 7 o'clock. I call Air Canada, and because it's January, Air Canada is completely busy on their helpline because it snows all the time in Canada in the winter, and they have to constantly cancel flights, so they're dealing with people with canceled flights who have to get rebooked that are flying to and from Canada. So I sit on hold for 3 hours, and I know this for a fact because I actually clocked it so that I could share it with them because I couldn't get through to anybody. And at this point, I'm texting with my friends and I'm saying, what should I do? These are points and miles friends as well. Have this ever happened to you? I'm also messaging a friend of mine who is an Air Canada expert to be like, has this ever happened to you? I don't know what to do. Is there any other way for me to contact them? But unfortunately, Air Canada does not have a chat service on their website like some of the other airlines do. The only way to get in touch with them is on the phone. But at this point, it's like 11 p.m. the night before I'm flying, and I don't have a ticket on the flight the next day. So I had to decide what I was going to do next. And basically what I decided was I was going to cut my losses on this, temporarily, and I was gonna see if I could get a ticket on another flight. Because I have flexible miles and flexible points in all of the different programs, I was able to book an American Airlines flight direct from PHL to LAX for the next day around 10 a.m. for not a lot of points. It was only about 13,000 points, and I already had them in my account. So it was easy. I had it, I confirmed everything, and I knew I was getting on the flight the next day. But then came, what am I gonna do about this ticket that I have abandoned in Air Canada that I can't figure out if I can use or not? So I go back to United, and I do get somebody on the phone again after about 45 minutes. I tell them the situation, that I wasn't able to get anybody from Air Canada on the phone, and I ask them what to do. So they basically tell me that because my name is not attached to this ticket, when it actually goes to boarding time, it's going to show as a ticket that can't be issued, and it's going to automatically get canceled in the system. They also told me that my points and the cash would be refunded at that time because it would be seeing the ticket as some kind of error, and it would all just come back to me. Spoiler alert, none of that actually happened. So it's the next day, I get on the flight. I actually went to the airport and I popped over to the United counter to tell them what had gone on. I showed them everything, and they said the same thing that the person on the phone said, that it was going to automatically get canceled. There was no way that they could issue that ticket, and there was nothing more for me to do, and I would see the refund back in my account. I went on my trip. I had a great time. I came back. It was 5 days later. Nothing happened. The ticket did not get canceled, and I didn't get anything back. So now I had to reach out to Air Canada to find out what was going to happen and to see how I could get my points back and get my money back. Now, for anybody who has dealt with Air Canada before, Air Canada is impossible to get in touch with because you can only do it via phone. So when I finally got in touch with somebody via phone after sitting on hold for like 10 hours over the course of several days, they told me I had to submit a claim through their website. Submitting a claim through their website is nearly impossible. They have this automated system where you have to choose from all of these drop-down menu options, and as you're choosing the drop-downs, it's bumping you out of the system. So if you choose the wrong drop-downs, it's telling you, oh, you have to email this person for that, or you have to go over here for that, or you can do that all online, or you need to call us. So I had to also go in these deep Reddit rabbit holes to figure out how can I actually get to submit this form. And I finally figured it out over a lot of trial and error, and I got my form submitted. And now this is all happening in the end of January. So when I submit the form, it says that they're going to get back to me in 6 to 8 weeks. So in 6 to 8 weeks, I hear back from them, only for them to tell me I had filled out the wrong form. Because I submitted my ticket through points and miles, I had to fill out a completely separate form. Oh, and by the way, that also meant that I was going to have to start the process all over again and start the 6 to 8 weeks over again. So I submit the new form, but now thankfully, because somebody emailed me, I have a human's email address that I can talk to, and he confirms that I submitted everything correctly and that they're going to work through the process 6 to 8 more weeks. Now, this is in April. 6 to 8 weeks go by, I hear absolutely nothing from them. So I start the follow-up process of saying, hey, I need my points back. What is going on here? Why have I not heard from you? And he's giving me the runaround. He's saying, we're doing it, we're working on it. And so at this point, it's June, July, now August. I'm following up with them like once every week or so to say, hey, what is going on with this? You need to refund these points and you need to refund my money. This was entirely your fault. I couldn't even take this flight. You almost ruined my trip. What is happening? By some miracle, just this week, I actually got the points deposited back into my account and they refunded the cash. But as you can probably tell, I am so done with Air Canada. I do not want to book a flight with them for any reason ever again. They have canceled me and done me dirty too many times. Now that my points are stuck there, okay, what are my options if I don't want to take a flight with them? So because Air Canada does have some kind of shopping portal, I am able to cash out my points for a gift card or an item that I want. Now, I would never normally recommend that you do this because your value for your points is going to be really low doing something like this, but I am not flying with them under any circumstances, and there's no point in my points just sitting there. So I am probably going to go ahead and just get some kind of gift card so I can be absolutely done with them, because this has been insane, the amount of time and the amount of effort. And Air Canada, I am so disappointed in your customer service, and I will not be flying you. I will not be getting your credit card. I will not be recommending you to anyone because this has been horrible. Now, like I said in the beginning, I know a lot of points and miles enthusiasts have had really good experiences with them. So I would love to hear from you. Have you had any experiences with Air Canada? Have they been good, bad, kind of in the middle? Am I the only one who has had this absolutely horrible experience with them? So let me know how it's been for you with Air Canada, and I will let you know what gift card I end up going with.